Welkom bij de Nieuwe Wereld. Mijn naam is Marlies Dekkers en mijn gast vandaag is Naomi Wolf. Naomi! I'm a fangirl.
Oh, thank you. We are mutual fans.
Yeah, I know you from the 90s. I think I read all your books.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, and we had the same purpose. We were the third generation feminist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now you're here in the Netherlands in the studio of the Nieuwe Wereld and introducing your book. I say it in Dutch, then you hear it how it sounds.
Yes, please.
Oog in oog met het beest. Vertrouwen, moed en weerstand in een nieuwe donkere tijd. Yeah, I follow you every day in the corona
It's
time
amazing.
on Twitter.
Wow.
And I feel so connected because we go almost day by day through the same.
Right.
And that is, I think, what you read, what you put down in this book. But before we go in the book, perhaps a little introduction for, I don't know if somebody don't know you here in the Netherlands, but a little bit your background.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's very exciting for me to be in the Netherlands. I haven't been here for many years. Amsterdam is one of my favorite cities, and I'm only now in this beautiful city of Leiden. And it's just magical, although I definitely feel the shadow over the Netherlands the way I feel a shadow over my own country, post 2020. Compared with the before times. So I am a nonfiction writer. I wrote 9 bestsellers, mostly about women's issues or civil liberties. Most of my career, I was probably best known as feminist, as you mentioned, third wave feminist. And I wrote a book called The Beauty Myth that brought me to the Netherlands initially.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was sort of a very famous book. It sort of hit the right moment at the right time, the right thing at the right time, sorry. And then my other books have dealt with like tyranny and the rise of fascism and how easy it is for a democracy to be subverted by a totalitarian regime or a fascist regime. And that's been preoccupying me since 2007 when I wrote a book called The End of America, predicting exactly what we're seeing now worldwide. Other than that, I'm CEO of a tech company called Daily Clout, which is a very cool platform that brings socially shareable legislation to just America right now. But my dream is to have 162 legislative databases so you could share like Dutch legislation and lobby for it and pass it or stop it, or any, French, whatever, British, Canadian. And I wrote, the last 2 books have been about COVID, the pandemic. I put that in quotation marks. The last one was The Bodies of Others, which kind of picks up from The End of America and narrates who the evildoers were, who locked down the world and redistributed the wealth and traumatized the kids and are trying to create a global tyranny. And this is the sequel, which is really much more personal book about, just as you said, my ejection, for telling the truth, from my comfortable perch as a liberal media darling, and the journey I went on kind of in exile, where I realized that a lot of what I believed was not true, and where I came to the conclusion, and I promise I'll stop talking in a minute, but I came to the conclusion that we are in more than just a material or a political battle. We're also in a spiritual battle. That's my humble conclusion.
Yeah. Yeah. So the first chapter of your book, and it really touched you because you write it very personal and because you are a very good writer. So it's kind of a novel, but it's real.
Right.
And you use a lot of background information, kind of the smell of the morning or opening the window, and we live in a different world.
Yeah.
And but perhaps that we first do the first few chapters where you that media angel what you was, that everybody likes you, and that you are a bestseller writer, a doctor, a woman, put on the finger on the painful subjects, and invited by every, I think, fashion show my area, but also art scene, but also by the Obamas, I think. You were really highbrow girl.
The Clinton administration, but Clinton and Gore.
Clinton administration.
Yeah. No, you've got it. You've painted a very clear picture. I mean, it's kind of obnoxious to talk about, privilege or a lucky life, but I was very fortunate, and I had been world famous for 35 years, and I was respected for writing about women's issues, and I was, in this kind of New York, DC, London sort of global media elite, political elite subculture. Very comfortable, very gratifying.
Also had your own program by CNN, isn't it? Or
no, I just was on the media all the time, and then on one day, it's so surreal. And I thought the people by whom I was surrounded, the liberal elite and the left, I thought they were the good guys, right? That was my tribe, and we were critical thinkers, and we were fair, and we were egalitarian. And then in one day, in June of 2021, I posted an accurate tweet